What's up, Jet fans? Sorry for the late video again. I was actually traveling Sunday, so I had to watch the game in the car. But I watched Week 4 Broncos at Jets, and another reason this video is coming out late is because once again, didn't really want to make a video on this game. A really really ugly game, a really really brutal loss for the Jets. But let's just jump into it, I guess. Final score 9-10 loss. Um, their record is 2-2. My predicted record for them at this time is 3-1. This is the first game I got wrong, and my prediction for this game obviously was incorrect. Um, a absolutely sloppy game from the Broncos and the Jets, mostly the Jets. And that's the thing. The Jets know this. When you have a sloppy game but you win, it's okay. When you have a sloppy game and you lose, it's a lot worse. And obviously that's what happened with the Jets in a 9-10 loss. Um, they missed the last second 50-yard field goal, a very doable field goal, but it was obviously not the greatest conditions, and there were so many other things that could have resulted them in getting what should have been an easy win. Um, Obviously, the biggest stories going into this game for the Broncos was their rookie quarterback Bo Nix. Um, he, as all rookies have been, they've all been struggling, including him. He hasn't thrown a single passing touchdown up until this game. The Jets let him get his very first passing touchdown, so um, good for the Jets, I guess. But he's been struggling all season, like all rookies have. This game in particular, the announcers were making a big deal about the rain and how he's struggling in the rain, which doesn't make too much sense to me because he's an Oregon quarterback, but he doesn't. I don't know enough about him to say if that comment made any sense, but he clearly, and maybe it's just passing in general, but clearly the passing got a lot better as the rain stopped, and Bo Nix got a lot better as the game went on. Um, but so they were talking about that, and then obviously, as Jet fans know, this is Aaron Rodgers' first chance on the field to get back at the Broncos. The Jets beat the Broncos last season after the comment Sean Payton made. Um, but this season, Aaron Rodgers' chance. I was expecting Aaron Rodgers to have another big game. He came off a big game against the Patriots, and then I was expecting him to have an even bigger game because, once again, Broncos aren't the greatest team, and Aaron Rodgers should be really motivated to win. He didn't have a terrible game, but he didn't have a great game either, so a lot to be desired. No passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately. And while we're talking about it, let's just jump into the offense. Um, Once again, offensively, a struggle. Aaron Rodgers, he put up a lot of yardage, and that's the thing. There were lots of moments where it was like, okay, the Jets can score here, and I remember the 2 minute drive, the 2 minute warning drive going into the second, ending the first half. Aaron Rodgers looked like, this is what makes a Hall of Fame quarterback a Hall of Fame quarterback. Crunch time, they can kind of do their thing, and they were doing a lot, and then they got a field goal. So that was once again, a touchdown. They lost by 1 point. A touchdown would have won them the game. There was, I don't remember if it was that drive, but they drove all the way down to the 1 yard line. It was fourth and one. They were going to go for it, which I agreed with, because once again, one touchdown changes the entire outlook of this game. And then there was a offensive lineman penalty, and they got pushed back, and they went for the field goal. Um, so especially, right, teams blow chances all the times, but especially when the score is this low, 9-10, any one of those chances, if the Jets didn't blow it, they could have won this game. And they had so many penalties this game. I know it was a sloppy game in the rain, but the Jets, that's a consistent theme with Robert Saleh. The Jets get so many penalties. And once again, in a game where you're 1 yard away from the end zone, in a game where 1 point makes a massive difference, all those penalties add up, and that was a really big problem just in general. And then once again, rushing. Um, Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, he did a lot better this game. Uh, 34 yards on 8 attempts isn't great, but if you consider the fact that they were struggling to do anything in the first half, and then they kind of get the run game going a little bit, that is kind of interesting. And once again, looking at Braylon Allen's stats, look at Brees Hall's stats: 10 attempts for 4 yards. That's that's really bad. That's really bad. He did a little bit in the passing game, but that is a really really bad stat line. And the issue is, and as many Jet fans are pointing out, they kept Brees Hall in when Braylon Allen was clearly running better this game. Um, and I don't know if, Brees Hall is supposed to be this great running back. I don't know what's happening. Perhaps that's just the nature of running backs, and that's why you don't give him a second contract, because you can find better replacements in the fourth round instead of paying millions and millions of dollars. And once again, the money doesn't matter; it's the cap percentage that matters, and getting rid of all that cap. So it looks like, I don't know, this game, and it's been an interesting thing where it's like, Braylon Allen, he seems maybe just as good, in some parts. And once again, that's not a bad thing to have two good running backs. The issue is when you have two good running backs, but you keep the bigger name in when the rookie is doing better in that particular game. That's the issue. And once again, the Jets lost by 1 point. So, out of all the wrong decisions the Jets made and the Jets did, all the penalties and all the bad decisions they made, fixing one of those things probably would have won you the game. Um, and that's the nature of a 1 point game, unfortunately. But yeah, um, yeah, the offense not very good. The one good part about the offense, I would say, is Williams is definitely coming into his own after not playing a couple weeks, and then slowly but surely getting more play time. He definitely did good and had a bunch of. I had a good couple of big plays in this game. And obviously the Jets needed that and a little bit more, and they probably would have won this game. Once again, jumping from the offense to the defense, um, not the greatest showing. You let a struggling quarter. You're supposed to be this great defense. That's what we have to remember. Letting up 10 points most of the time is not an issue at all. It's the way it happened, right? The Jets offense or the Jets defense is supposed to be this great defense that should have feasted on a struggling rookie quarterback with a struggling team. And they did for the most part. And then the Broncos, something just clicked at the end of the game. And when the score was I don't know, it was probably 3-9 or something, maybe, yeah, 3-9. You can't let a touchdown up if the score is 3-9. And the Broncos at the end of the game, their offense just clicked. They started running well, they started passing well, and Bo Nix got his first passing touchdown. Um, and so that's the thing. The only score that matters is the final score. So you can be a great defense for 3 quarters, and if you let them do well in the fourth quarter, that's an issue. Obviously, they were missing their leader, C.J. Mosley, and once again, the nature of 1 point game. If they had him, they might have won. Um, and so that's just what's frustrating, I guess. This defense is supposed to be a great defense, and once again, it's weird, right? They let up 10 points, but how much of that is the Broncos' offense being bad? And then once again, 10 points, but you let up a touchdown in the fourth quarter that changed the entire outlook. And I get they're getting tired. Once again, we had this problem last year, and Aaron Rodgers was supposed to fix it, and he kind of fixed it as the Jets' offense seemed to be on the field for a while. They just couldn't get touchdowns. Um, but we had this problem last year where the Jets defense would complain, we're getting tired. That's why we keep on blowing leads, because we're getting tired because we're on the field for so long. And that's a fair argument, but I don't I don't think that was the case this game. I would have to look at the playtime on field playtime. Um, but it seems like it was pretty even. It's just both teams were really bad, and the Jets defense was the defense to let up a touchdown at the very end in a touchdownless game, and that is really bad when it's a one-score game. And so I don't know. That's all I have to say about that. So, obviously, I have up here that Greg Zerline misses the potential go-ahead field goal. Um, and once again, it was a makeable field goal. If he's supposed to be a pretty good kicker, which I think he is, he should probably make a 50-yard field goal. But obviously, it was rainy, the conditions were poor, and that was not like that was the straw that broke the camel's back, I guess. The Jets had so many opportunities where they could have won the game because it was a 1 point game. I keep on harping on that, but it's true. That's what happens when it's a 1 point game, and they just didn't do it, which is really frustrating. This is definitely a winnable game in a 3-1 record going into the Vikings, which I don't know. I said in my last video they have an MVP candidate at quarterback right now, in London, which makes everything weird. That's not a winnable game. That's not an easy game. Then they play the Bills, obviously not an easy game. Then they play the Steelers. They are cooking right now. The Steelers, they always get a winning record, and right now they look to be a playoff challenger. That's not an easy game. Then you play the Patriots, should be an easy game, but you never know with a divisional rival. And then you play the Texans, which they're not as good as they were last year, it seems, but that's not an easy game either. um, so that's Halloween. We're now a month, so we got a bunch of not so easy games. That's what I said in my predictions video. They needed to start off strong. They needed to start off 3-1 because they now have a really hard stretch of games. And starting out 500 is not what I meant by strong. I know it's weird. It's one win versus one loss, but there's a big difference in a 3-1 record and a 2-2 record. That's just how early season football works. Um, I don't know. Sorry to be a bummer in this entire video. The game was a bummer game, so it's fitting, I suppose. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye.